Hello everyone, how are you all doing? My name is Teacher Lloyd and I'm here to teach you a brand new lesson for today. Do you have any idea what it is about? I'm guessing you don't, so I'll just reveal it now. Today, we're going to tackle about the rules of sound correspondence. They will help us explore different topics for today's lesson.
Sound correspondence refers to the relationship between a letter or combination of letters known as graphemes and the phonemes that represent the sounds they make in a word. Learning to read and write is crucial because inflection is a code that students like you need to understand to read and spell words correctly.
But how does the sound correspondence work?
Identifying the phoneme, which is the smallest unit of sound and language, and the grapheme, which is the letter or group of letters used to represent that sound. When these two linguistics elements come together, that's what we call sound correspondence. It tells us which letter matches with sound and vice versa.
First example, the K sound can be written as C, as in cat, and K, kite or CK, duck. Second example, the word ship. The sound is represented by two letters, S and H, working together to make one sound.
Absolutely. Learning about sound correspondence is essential because it helps us to read, spell, and understand words when we communicate. By learning this topic, we become better at connecting the sounds of each letter to the letters we see to make it easier to read, even if we don't know about it yet. In spelling, knowing sound correspondence helps us break down sounds and write the correct letters for each sound we hear. And lastly, understanding this topic helps us to learn more complex words and spelling patterns.
Wow! Did you hear that, all students? Learning about sound correspondence is very important because it's like the key to understanding of how to pronounce and break down the sound of letters in the words we say. Have you learned a lot from this first part of our lesson? But we're not done yet. Now, we'll teach you some major rules of sound correspondence and how they work in our daily use. So come on, let's start with number 1.
Hey, I was practicing my spelling for our frisbee, and I noticed something strange. Words like cake and kite have a silent E at the end, and the vowel sounds long, right? But then I saw words like have, give, and love. They also have a silent E, but the vowel sounds short. Why is that?
Oh, that's the rebel words. They don't follow the silent E magic. Even with the E at the end, the vowels stay short.
That's so confusing. So silent E doesn't always work? How can I answer our frisbee properly then?
From this example, we can see that the silent E and the rebel words or words with exception from the rule can be confusing for some students as illustrated in the earlier scenario. It is because the silent E at the end usually makes the vowel say its name. Like in cake, kite, and bone, it is called a long vowel sound. For example, in bone, the O in the word says O, and it is longer than it is to be. But we also have rebel words where silent E doesn't work. Words like have, give, and love. The silent E doesn't make the vowel long. These rebels keep the vowel short. In the other words, it is really complex to understand because some words follow the silent E rule and others don't. The reason is that centuries ago, English spelling wasn't standardized. Words like have from Old English havan were pronounced with short vowels and kept their spelling even after the magic E rule became popular. During the Middle Age period, the magic E rule was introduced to clarify pronunciation, but older words resisted the change. Yes,
silent if doesn't always work because English has exceptions. Most words follow the rules, but some don't. You have to remember those rebel words separately to answer our quiz B appropriately. Okay?
Hey! I was reading a recipe and got confused. It is said to use steak and bread, but they sound so different even though both have A. Yeah, English can be tricky like that, like big sounds like E, but bread sounds more like and steak sounds like A. Right. I thought A was always pronounced like E, but now I see it changes depending on the word. Exactly! Sometimes you just have to listen and remember you wouldn't say steak like big or bread because people might think you're making up new words. English spelling is full of surprises. I guess I'll just have to practice and get used to these sounds differences. Yep! The more you read and listen, the easier it gets. This rule is about how A usually makes the E sounds like in team, dream, and beach. It happens mostly in words with Germanic roots. But we also have rebel words like head and steak, where A break the rule with E or A sounds. It's because words like bread and head come from Old English bread and hifod. Over time, their vowels shortened due to greatest vowel shift, 1400s to 1700s, but the spelling stayed the same. Meanwhile, steak is a Viking rebel. It comes from Old Norse. Norse invaders wrote words with A or A, spelling that English kept but pronounced differently.
Hey Lloyd, how are you? Long time no see. Even though we are just neighbors.
I saw you in the park last night while you were walking.
Really? Why you didn't say hi?
Because you enjoyed the night so much, how could I disturb you?
You're right. I enjoyed the night last night, but your pronunciation was wrong. The word night sounds like I because of the I. Say it with me.
You're so random, but okay, I guess I'll say it with you. Night. Oh yeah, it does sound like the word I because of the I. But you know, while I was reading a text earlier, I saw the word neighbor, but the I there sound different. It's more like I. Why is that?
You're right. English can be confusing sometimes.
Yes.
I usually sounds like I, but in words like neighbor and slave, it sounds different.
That's why I was always confused as a kid with a word that have I.
Don't worry, that's normal. We just have to keep practicing. Bye, bye. Next time.
Okay.
This rule is about how the I combination usually makes the I sound, like night, sight, and bright. This was Middle English where you write the long I sound, but there are rebel words like neighbor, sleigh, and high, where I changes A or I sounds. It's because the word neighbor comes from Old English neighbor, near plus dweller. The G was originally pronounced like hard H, but became silent over time. The A spelling remained due to French influence. The word height was originally heihu in Old English. The G represented a throaty sound that disappeared.
leaving the I pronunciation.
Hello class, how are you all today? Are you excited for today's lesson? Yes! But before we start, let's check the assignment I gave yesterday. Lloyd, do you have a question?
I have a question. So, I noticed something while writing and spelling the words answer to our assignment. Sometimes I comes before E, for example, the word peace. But other times it's E comes from I, like the weird. And then there were words like ceiling and science. I'm so confused. Is there some rules to this?
Actually, that's a great question. I can see you're paying attention to English spelling patterns. You notice that E comes before A and other times A comes before E, especially after the letter C. Why do you think that happens? So this rule is about the classic rhyme. E before A except after C. For example, the words like peace, ceiling, and leisure. Let's look at these further examples. The words believe, believe, the letter I and E, and receive, receive, E, E after C.
These exceptions happen because of the complex history of English spelling and pronunciation. In other words, they exist and must be memorized or learned through exposure. For example, the word weird comes from an Old English weird, meaning fake, and the A came from or was influenced by Scottish dialects in the 50th century. Meanwhile, science is a French rebel. He entered English from Old French, science, donc, science, which uses IE differently. To sum up, this rule mainly applies to words with an E sound. English has so many long words that one rhyme can cover them. Do you understand, students?
So, did you learn something, students?
Isn't English spelling so wild? Blame history, language blends, pronunciation change, but spelling remain fixed like a fossilized dinosaur bones.
Always remember that every rebel word has a story. It's usually an invasion or a racist cry from 600 years ago.
That's why learning sound correspondence is substantial. Without it, we can fully understand or notice the structure of words when it comes to their spelling and pronunciation. Drop your favorite spelling rebel in the comments and we'll explore its history in a future video.
We hope we've expanded your vocabulary and ideas about words and sounds. See you in our next teaching video. Bye, students, and class dismissed.